Good afternoon, madam, and good afternoon, sirs. Really, it's a pleasant time that we all industry. We all industry players are here, and thanks to the all industry players to whom I frequently interacted and learned a lot about the technology advent. And I'd also thank to all the industry players to whom I frequently interacted and keep abreast with my changing technologies so that I could include it into the policy making. I see today's agenda, and I see there are so many technical things that should be included in the agenda. So I think it's better I limited myself to the only policy making under the RDSS and government sponsored schemes. So the era started under the 1992 with the advent of the drum program, in which because electricity comes under the concurrent list, and under the concurrent list, from time to time, Government of India supplement the grants or in the form of some conditional grant or conditional loans or conditional assistance to supplement the works of the state utilities. So since from the 1992 we started with the drum, then comes to the APDRP, comes to the RAPDRP, then Deen Dayal, then comes to the IPDS, and then Deen Dayal. Then now we are at the juncture of the implementation of the RDSS. So this all technology try to just supplement the resources of the utilities. There are so many things that government is giving as a support to augment the strength of the utilities. But here I myself limited to what the policies that we are going to adopt it under the RDSS, especially under the ITOT. Sir and madams, we all know that India is going to make a challenge to the SWIFT system, which is an established system since the last 14, 50 years. This all because due to the big changes happens in the space of the digital transaction. So all the world is moving in the one direction, so we cannot remain ourselves unipolar and moves in the another direction. So it's utmost necessary that our utilities should also keep abreast with the changing technology and implement them so that they could keep abreast with the changing technologies. One of the main problem that faces utility is the rising tariff, because our government is very much clear about his idea about the Make in India concept. So if utility has some gaps in the revenue collections, so there is only one way they could increase their tariffs from the time to time. But we already know India has already lost as a competitor of the cheapest lever in the world. And energy is the one of the most important ingredients as an input for the Make in India. So every time if we start rising the tariff to fill the gaps of the utility, so it is not going to be viable, and our government mission to Make in India is not going to be complete. So it's better that we have to optimize our resources in a better way, and so that we could achieve our desired result. So we start with the RDSS, which aims to bring the efficiency and operational efficiency in the utility. The main ambition of the RDSS is to make the utility sustainable. Sustainable by making, because only three things which is going to make the utility sustainable. First thing, whatever it invest in his system for giving the supply, it should be recovered with a proper marginal cost. Next is the reduce the latency losses, and third, he has to improve his efficiency. So by improving these three things, certainly they achieve the desired results. And that's why the RDSS is trying to emphasize on only these three facts by incorporating the technological advance in the form of IT and OT. RDSS is a very big scheme, about 3 trillion crores of rupees going to be invested in the RDSS. So every company try to book some profit, try to make some slice in the RDSS, how they could be benefited from this. So first of all, I said that India is going to make a challenge to the SWIFT, and this all because due to the advent in IT and OT technologies. So first of all, because our utility is very much efficient in managing their resources in terms of their equipments. So first of all, you have to see IT, and then you see the OT, and what is the leveraging point that going to leverage the utilities to make them optimum utilization of their resources. IT makes a big event due to their computing power, their connectivity, and OT is another thing which is a physical machines. So utility has almost tons of the machines, number of the machines which is physically separated. So our ambition is to make them connected with the internet. And that's where the overlapping comes, which is the IT-OT convergence, where connecting our physical devices with the internet of the things, and make it more operational, more proficient. Here the comes of the IT and OT comes play. And that's why the government of India makes a provision for the IT-OT under the RDSS. But before going to the RDSS, I just discuss some emerging area in terms of the utility, because we already know the utility is very much efficient in maintaining the electrical equipments, but at the same time they are very much laggard in the managing their IT resources. That's why when the RDSS makes its advent, or when the policy making is underway, all the policy makers think that the first thing that we to emphasize is that before adopting the RDSS, every utility must have to create their own IT department, and IT department is at least headed by the level of the chief engineer, and this should not be staffed by the only number of the peoples, but should be staffed by the competent people, so that they could take the advantage of the IT technologies. So the pain area of the DISCOM is they are very much inefficient in maintaining their IT resources, but at the same time they are very much good in maintaining their electrical equipments. So that's why we implement something and make an assessment, because I say utility has to maintain their resources in the optimum way. That's why we introduce the ERP, and the ERP is the pain area. Is that we have to, first of all, we have to identify their resources, how utilize their resources, and after utilizing their resources, they make it more impactful and make the required decision. Because the ERP has so many modules, we have to discuss more in coming slides. But the first impact that we are going to resolve the utilities pain is by implementing of the ERP. Next is the unified billing system, because as we know, there are so many heads of the expenditure in the power sector: generation, transmission, and distribution. Three hierarchy. Generation and transmission takes their revenue from the distribution system. So distribution system is a last mile connectivity, and that's why it's important that we have to improve their management. Improve their management means they get their revenue only through the billing system. So we kept the provision of the unified billing system under the RDSS, so that they could manage their billing in an efficient way. Although we already know that the RAP-DRP started in 2009 by the government of India as a technology enabler in terms of the introduction of the technology in the government sector schemes. Before the RAP-DRP, only system estimating components should be there. But under the RAP-DRP, we introduced the concept of the Part A IT Phase 2. So under the Part A IT, we make a provision for the certain areas in which we collect the baseline data, and by comparing their AT&C losses, we try to improve the system performance, system reliability, and try to reduce the AT&C losses. So since in the RAP-DRP area, another thing we introduce is the SCADA. SCADA is the not a new concept in terms of the generation and the transmission, but in the distribution sector, it is a new concept. So under the RAP-DRP, we introduced a SCADA in the 59 towns, and out of the 59 towns, 57 towns has completed the SCADA, and now they successfully run their SCADA systems. So another thing which we are going to introduce is the SCADA and unified billing system. Under the RAP-DRP, we extend it in the IPDS to the urban areas, because under the urban areas also, and now under the RDSS, we extended the provision of SCADA from the 59 towns to the up to the 4,000 towns in the RDSS. So in the coming days, SCADA comes in a big way. We all know, we discuss more details about the SCADA in the coming slides. We all know if we have to optimize our manpower, we have to automate our system, make the clustering of the system, and it is not only about the optimizers of manpower, but to make the better analytics. So by making better analytics, we get the better results. We have to perform better. And third thing is the Internet of the Things. We already know Internet of the Things is connecting so many millions and billions of the equipment every day. And we know about 75% of the connections to the internet now comes from the utility side. Either it should be power utility, it should be a water utility, or it should be a gas utility. But about 75% of the equipment, the things which is going to be connected on the internet is coming from the utility. So utility is one of the vulnerable point which is going to affect the cyber security of our network system. So another thing which is to be implemented under the RDSS is a cyber security concern. If cyber security is not implemented, because in the RDSS 25 crore meters are going to be connected to in some way to the IoTs, our SCADA systems are going to connected to the some type of the networks, although it is a local type of the network. But PFC try to make one experimental study, a pilot study, that should we place the SCADA on the cloud system also. So just we try to conceive this. If we are going to successful, then perhaps in the coming next government sector scheme, we try to propose that the SCADA should be also placed hosted over the cloud. But it is, we only try to think about it. At present, there is no concrete result. If industries comes forward, they are supporting us, then certainly we make a pilot project and make it a success. And next is the cloud computing. Because I already share you with the thing that the utilities are very much less efficient in managing their IT equipments. Because we give under the RAP, DRP, we provided a handsome amount utility for upgrading their IT systems. Same thing is under the IPDS. We also extend the SCADA from the 57 towns to the about 1,000 towns under the in the form of the RD. But still we are not getting successful. So the main thing is the management of the physical assets pertaining to the IT structures. That's why we try to, because under the IPDS, we already know in the government sector scheme only capex plans are approved, because the government has the intent to create some assets, and that's why up to the IPDS there is no OPEX system is allowed. But under the RDSS, with the changing scenario, with the provision of the AMISP, and with the provisioning of the changing dynamics business scenario in the ERP, government is also thinking to implement the cloud system under the ERP, under the subscription model, SaaS model, under the ERP. So it is a new development which is going to be happen in the next few days, because the SBD that PFC is going to prepare, they may include the SaaS model in their documents, so that the big industry players also come and make the ERP a success, because we must have to move with the whatever that happens in the industry and in which direction the industry is going to be moved forward. SCADA, I already discussed about it. Cyber security already discussed about it, because the cyber security is one of the main thing. That's why in every document under the SCADA and ERP, we make a more and more emphasis on the cyber security, how to protect their systems. And in this regard, we just request to the industry to the just try to incorporate the IoT things in your equipment itself, so that it could, if going to connect with the IoT of the things, IoT, then it should certainly automate ourselves, although it takes some time. But we are in a talks with the some industry, they try to make it, that they try to upgrade their equipments as per the need of the, because with the COVID, after the breakdown of the COVID, the technological advance is going to be accelerate the development of the IT sector. So whatever is going to be achieved in 2025 is not going to achieve in 2022. So the development of the IT sector is going to be very fast and make a stride in the very fast way. So let us see, we try to just make a discussion with the industry players. So I request with the industry players to come forward. And another thing, in the IPD, under the RDSS, I just make a request to your all industry players, because all are here, because it is a 3 trillion crores rupees of the scheme. So every day some type of the vendor comes to me, comes to the PFC, or comes to the REC, or comes with the NSGM, just to push their product. Sir, this is a way we have to make it more efficient. Okay, now it's a good thing that the industry players are trying to cope up with the academics, and academics also try to coordinate with the industry players, because under the RDSS we also kept a provision of the competency building. So in the competency building, we make a collaboration with the leading institution, NPI, IITs, IIMs. So under the RDSS, try to hear the voice of all the segments so that to make a concrete result. Because under at present the government is also thinking about the developing the indigenous SCADA, because whatever the China is going to make 40 years back, we are trying to emulate it and try to make a stride in this direction. So government thinking so many things in the similar directions. So it's my request to the industry players to just, because it is nowadays, this is the age of the digitization and decarbonization. So I am not going to discuss about decarbonization because it's a different subject from this, but it is a time of the digitization. So whatever you try to develop, you must link it with the IT/OT of the system. Connecting with the IT/OT system has so many fold, because you all are the learned people, so I'm not going in the details about it, so already know about it. So it's my request with you to try to optimize the size, because in the coming days, land is going to be a scarce, especially in the urban areas. And that's why under the RDSS, we also make a provision that whatever the substation which is going to be built under the 1 acre of the land is now going to be built under 0.25 acres of land under the e-containerized GIS substation. So we try to see also the future way in this regard. So another thing which is the major thrust area is the RDSS is the smart metering. Perhaps in the next agenda you see details about the metering, but shortly I say under the RDSS 25 crore meters are going to be installed, and at present PFC RSC combinedly awarded about 20 crores of the smart meter. It's a really big achievement, because in such a small time awarding of the 20 crores of the meter is an achievement. But let us see what, because under the same pace we are going to implement it, and government has a very clear directive that anyhow we have to succeed it, and we must have to succeed it. So these are the where we have to install the smart meters. The basis of the installing of the smart meters is a twofold. One is to reduce our AT&C losses, and second is the energy accounting. Energy accounting at present done manually. So is the thinking under the RDSS that we have to make the energy accounting, because energy accounting is one of the pillar stone where we get all the information relating to our energy pilferages. At present it is done manually. So we try to make it automated. So automated only happens when we measure our energy flow at the 3 levels. One at our feeder level, next at the DT level, and next is at our consumer level. That's why the government under the RDSS make a proposal that we make the 100% system metering as well as the consumer metering. Because energy flow, we have to match the energy flow at every level and make the energy accounting, and by energy accounting we exactly pinpoint what is going to happen in which area. Even the government, even under the RDSS, we try to, at present, we see the subsidy at the utility level. Under the RDSS, there is one provision that whatever the subsidy is declared by the state government should be advancedly submitted to the utility level. But under the energy accounting, now we make a set of rules that encompasses that we have to make the energy accounting at the division level also. Because at the utility level, we just, the loss of the one level, one area should be compensated to the another area. But we go to the division level, although we have the plan, another plan. After the division level of the accounting, we go to the feeder level accounting. Then you get the accurate figure. But it should all be possible only if our system meeting and consumer meeting is already in 100% place. Then we get the 100% energy accounting of the system. So now ERP. So one of the main component under the ERP, under the RDSS, under the IT/OT component is the ERP. In this direction, PFC is the nodal agency for implementation of the ERP under the RDSS. That's why they prepare a model SPD. Under the IPDS, there is a no model SPD. A state utility has to implement in their own way. But seeing the result of the IPDS implementation, we finalized that we should make a model SPD that should be uniformly accepted by all the utilities for the bidding processes. Under the ERP, because the perhaps time is running fast, so we introduced the one main concept that we appoint one ERP system integrator. And ERP system integrator is wholly and solely responsible for bringing license, integrate with the system, digitization of data. He also manages the cloud service provider and provided the FMS services for the remaining period of the scheme period, and also provide the ATS. So it's his own baby, although it is not a PPP model or the any model, but we try to incorporate that the one ERPSI comes who is responsible for maintaining the system up to their scheme life period, so that the implementation should be going in the right direction, in the right speed. So this is the intent of our SPD, and that's why we prepare the SPD, and if it should be followed, certainly we get a new thing. Although at present we are not, we only incorporate only 4 options. First is a greenfield implementation of additional module, replacing existing systems, upgradation of existing module. But now with the request of the utility and with the changing dynamics of the business, we incorporate the SaaS model. So perhaps within 1-2 days, we issue some guidance note in this regard, so that the most of the utilities who hold their ERP bidding process, they start and culminate in the shortest possible time, so that it could also be paced in a forward way. So this is the whatever we have to sanction and the RDSS. This is a sanctioned amount. So almost 11 states encompassing 22 utilities has already adopted in either way for the adoption of the ERP. Next is a SCADA implementation that I already talked about. We have started RAPDRP is a technology breaker, a technology introducer for the distribution sector scheme, especially in the government sector schemes. So under the RAPDRP, we selected 59 towns, up to 59, 57 is already implemented. Under the IPDS, in the form of RTDS, we extended to the 1,000 town, and now under the RDSS, we keep extend it to the 4,000 town. And in this regard, we also prepare, PFCs also prepare a standard bidding document, so that the whole uniformity should be exist. The classification, the implementation of the SCADA, and because SCADA depends upon the usability. Automation versus the manual work requires your prior benchmarking of your cost benefit analysis. So keeping all these in view, you divided the SCADA in the 4 parts, group ABC. Group ABC all depends upon the population of the cities concerned. So group A is for the large town, mainly it covers the state capitals and the towns having the population more than 2.75 lakhs. Same is the group B. Group C, group A encompasses all the features of the SCADA. B and C is its truncated way. And group U is the upgradation. Upgradation means the utility who already adopted SCADA in some another scheme by the government resources or through their own resources. If they feel that it should be upgraded, they also approach to the RDSS and make sanction regarding this. Although some representatives also received from the SCADA from the different industry players, so we try to incorporate it within the 2-3 days. We also make some guideline to make it more feasible. So these are the category-wise functions. What is the SCADA? So I again request to the industry that come forward and make exhaustive bid in the SCADA and ERP, so that our system may be going to be improved. These are the functions of the SCADA. So since you all are, and now again, because such a mammoth scheme of $3 trillion scheme could not be run manually. So under the RDSS, we kept a provision for making a unified portal. Unified portal means it encompasses, it kept all the data related to the distribution sector scheme. Distribution sector schemes means we incorporated the RDSS module. Next is our IR data, state performance utility data, CSRD data, and about 9 modules are going to be integrated in this model, and this is a unified model. And through this model, we are going to make a monitoring of the scheme, because such a mammoth scheme could not be monitored manually, and that's why we kept a provision. The portal is already inaugurated by our Honorable Minister and is ready for the use to the utilities. Utilities fill up their data, and we are trying to make it more and more efficient, because it is a ever-changing process, because with the demand of our stakeholders, demand of the utility, we try to incorporate more and more things into it to make it more responsive, and in coming days we see something better. So we are going to, this is the integrated view. We also integrated the Prapti. Prapti, you already know, is the dues of the GENCOs. So all the things which are going to be happen in the distribution sector, you take the information from this single platform. This is the beauty of this platform. Okay, thank you, sir.